Yeah. So once you select this Oracle 11G package from over Oracle Business Intelligence Microsoft Windows 32-bit, then we can say continue. Click on continue. So in this, you will have four download buttons which are grayed out, which is you'll have what I call consecutive download buttons which are grayed out. So those things we need to download for Informatica 9.1. After that, we just need to enable what data quality license. By default, this comes up with Power Center license. Yeah. So one we started off downloading. Similarly, we need to do the second one. And then we can get into the third one. After that, fourth. Did we start fourth one? And now let us check the all the downloads. Yeah, let's see. View downloads. Yeah, one to Oracle, and then we have one of one. I think we selected all. 1, 2, 3, 4. So
one is missing.
These are two database, right? Last two things.
Yeah.
And let's go.
104. The last one is not.
One more is missing, right? How many total? 5 downloads, huh? Yes.
Yeah.
I need to select the last download. You are right. Yeah, that's all. So this was in this case. In this, you'll get Informatica, Power Center as well as that both. So we just need to. So make sure that network will not be disconnected. Javed.
Otherwise, 24 hours on.
Oh, then it's fine. At least it should be on for 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours. After that,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's what we need to do. Then we can get into next. So let it Oracle get downloaded because that's what is important thing.
I may have it down. See my second. See me?
Yeah, just 1 minute in this one. So Oracle part, let it get downloaded. After that,
I had it downloaded. I think I'm not 100% sure. Is it the right?
It's done, huh? Oh, that's little great. So fast,
There's
huh?
one more. No, it's not. I already downloaded it last time. I was trying to.
Where is that? Actually, and which location we have that? Yeah, go to downloads folder.
Is that the one you're looking for?
Yeah, this is right. 1 second, sir. Hi Lalit, good
You take
morning.
control now. It's in here.
Oh, this is some other version. So that what we are downloading is Enterprise
16.
Edition. Yeah. So
Okay, then
that's
I'll
fine.
just leave it.
Yeah.
No, I thought it might be helpful, but
Okay. Okay.
it's okay.
Yeah. Hi Lalit, good morning, Lalit. Lalit, you have Windows 7 or Windows 8, Lalit? Lalit. Which is what we started yesterday. This is what we started. After that, I was trying to talk about what architecture of what we have in the data quality. This one we have discussed. Now, let me talk about the pre-9.x, what I call data quality architecture. Yes, David?
I can't see your screen.
Oh, I can't see. Yeah. Oh, Anna, you can see, right?
Yeah. No, I can see.
Yeah, hi, Sridhar. Good morning. So, this is the what I call what we discussed earlier was we talked about this Informatica information management life cycle. Plus, we have also talked about the architecture of what we have in the data quality or Informatica 9.x. Now, we will talk about the old architecture, which is pre-9.x Informatica or data quality architecture. So if you look at here in IDQs, what is the specific to IDQ, 8.6.2 architecture, right? Where we can see here one repository per user, which means what? There is a concept of local repository and shared repository in what we call pre-9.x Informatica as well as data quality architecture. Yeah. So one repository per user. But in case of 9.x, central repository, which can be shared by all the users. This is the first major difference. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. So now, reference data in what 8.x or pre 9.x data quality architecture, we follow what simple what I call file system. Even here we have what reference data. We create it by using what reference table manager. Yeah. So what was stored in the question from Naresh? What was stored in local file system, local repository saying? Which means what let's say if you build a plan, that plan will be stored in local repository. If you build, let us say, component we call in pre-9.x data quality, the components also will be stored in local repository. So whatever user is going to perform, right, all of them will be stored in local repository. That's the straight answer to question to make it generic, Naresh. Now, reference data, remember, in order to apply or perform any data quality operation, we have to have some standard data which we call reference data. In pre-9.x data quality, reference data will be stored in the file system, which means what? In a disk, which we call dictionary. That is a technical term we use in pre-9.x data quality. Yeah. Now, from 9.x, reference data will be what is called stored in database, but we create reference data by using what? Reference table manager. Remember, yeah? We also have the reference data in the file system 9.x also. I'll talk about that. Yeah? So, but why there is a reference table manager? Remember, in 9.x data quality, there is a new client which we call Informatica Analyst, which got added in 9.x data quality or 9.x Informatica architecture. But pre 9.x data quality versions where we didn't have this Informatica Analyst client. So which means what Analyst client has got a reference table manager IDE which will be used in order to create reference data. So we can create a reference data from a scratch, or in case if you get reference data from a flat file or from a relational table, we can also create or we can import that particular flat file data and reference what is called relational data and get it converted to what we call Informatica Analyst understandable form. That will be done by using what RTM or reference table manager in short. And the model of what we follow in data quality is going to be based on 901, and previous one is simple client server, which is what that is architecture actually. This model is basically, it's not 901 model, it's based on 8.x or 3.x model you can say. Now, with respect to connection details, remember, so, I didn't talk about this. Data quality metadata contained in each plan. Remember, plan is equal to mapping. Now we use mapping. In pre 9.x data quality versions, we call that as plan. So which means metadata would contain for each plan. Yes, sir. But in case of this, we use what is called 901 model. So this is different. Pre 9.x, you will have what I call metadata contain each plan, which means whatever we define metadata will not be visible for others. So that is why for every plan it is embedded. That's what we have. Similarly, your connection details also will be embedded within each plan. Like yesterday I was trying to talk about that. Yes, Javier?
Simon, does that mean the metadata in the 8 was there was a single copy available for the data for each user, and now it's centralized in 9.1?
Yes, you are right.
All right.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, that's it.
Now we have connection details, like a database connection details, username, password, data source name, all that, right? They will be embedded within each plan. But from 9.x, which is what I call centralized, which means one connection we create, that particular connection can be used by anybody else. These are the basic differences between pre 9.x data quality and with the current, which is 9.x data quality versions. That's what we have. Now, with respect to terminology, yesterday I didn't talk about that. That's one difference which I will talk now. Plus, we also have specific what we call changes with respect to components, mappings within component, what are all the, or within a plan, like what are all the components we have, and what is a component, what is the corresponding thing in data quality, and what are the specific things, we'll talk about them. These are all general, but the terminology changes, but the concept is same in both cases. For example, plan in pre9.x, now we call that as a mapping. Previously we used to call that as a component in 8.6.2. Now it is what? Transform or transformation. And then dictionary reference table. So like reference table, we create it by using reference table manager, and dictionary we keep it as part of file system. That's it. These are the what I call 3 bullet points with respect to terminology changes. Now, when it comes to specifics, can you see here like what components that we have in pre-9.x data quality and the components or transformations of what we have from 9.x data quality, which is what we are going to discuss now. Yeah. Now if you look at this one, first one is what? Merge. There is a merge component in pre-9.x. Even now also we have what we call merge transformation, which will be used to concatenate. It's not a real what I call quality merge here. It's a simple concatenation, which means we can convert or we can combine n number of input column data into one output column. Yeah. So which is what we do as part of what? Merge transformation or merge component. Yeah. Now the next is what we have uppercase and lowercase. In data quality 9.x version onwards, we have what we call case converter transformation, which will take care of many what we call case type conversions, like we have type in the sense case conversions, upper to lower, lower to upper, title case, sentence case, tilde case. So we have 5 conversion types which will be supported from 9.x case converter transformation. But in pre-9.x, for each conversion type, right, we have separate component. Example, we have 2 upper, 1 component, 2 lower, 1 more component, title case, 1 more component, and so on. Yeah? So which means what? Several components have been kept in one transformation, which we call case converter transformation. So with this, we can convert one case to another case, yeah? Upper to lower or whatever. Yeah? Now, this is what is called object conversion. Now the next is what? Multiple objects, which means what? There is a component called context parser, using which we can parse the input data into multiple substrings based on what? Pattern base. Remember. So which means, let us say pattern could be star or any other what we call pattern, where we can start what we call performing this case what we call context parser in 9.x by using 2 transformations. One is what we call labeler, other is what we call parser. Both the transformations will be used in order to what we call perform this context parser. Remember. Yeah? Now we have what we call with respect to functionality, where we have in pre-9.x we have what different algorithms which will be used to perform what we call comparison or matching. I repeat, there are different algorithms that we use to perform what we call comparison. This means comparing the column data from one row with another row, or comparing column data of within single row one field with another field. Yeah? To do that, we use different algorithms which you can see here: Jaro distance, background distance, edit distance, Hamming distance, and reverse Hamming distance. There's one more. Yeah? And from 9.x, we have one comparison transformation which will have all the algorithms, which means what? In pre-9.x, these are what are the separate components. So Jaro distance, separate component, background distance, separate component, edit separate, Hamming distance, separate component. So all of them have been merged into one, which is by using comparison transformation, we can take care of all these components. So that's one thing. And the one which is not supporting 9.x versions is what? Scripting part. So that part will be taken care by using what we call 9.x usage of what we call expression, and also we can write some scripting, not this scripting, TCL scripting, but we can write shell scripting. These are the what we call broader things with respect to what we call differences. Now we have what we call, now we need to think of with respect to differences of what? Targets. Now if you look at this scorecard, which will be, scorecard means what? We can identify what we call valid and invalid data by using scorecard. I repeat, we identify valid and invalid data by using what? Scorecarding. Now that will be done in pre9.x based on what we call Explorer, which is not that great, but in 9.x we have what we call analyst tool, which is a web-based client. If you go and look back in this architecture, we have this analyst client, right, which is a web-based client, which means we can log on to web by supplying the URL to perform what we call identifying the valid and invalid data, which is what we do as part of this analyst tool. Then we can also define results, what we call a profiling results, either onto the flat file and also what we call under the relational table. Remember, so which means what? Targets will be based on either flat file or relational table. And there are exclusions. Then TCL scripting, we can use it to enhance the functionality. Plus and midfield matcher, where we can take care of mix of many fields, but it has been what is taken out, which is deprecated, so which is not being supported now. And changes with respect to terminology we discussed. But let us say now there is a solution which is using what we call data quality that was built by using what? Pre9.x data quality versions. Now we need to do what? How are we going to migrate pre9.x data quality versions to current data quality versions? To do that, we need to perform what I call IDQ to IDQ migration, which means what? IDQ to IDQ means what? IDQ with pre9.x with IDQ 9.x migration. An upgrade will happen for within what we call before 9.x or after 9.x, which means for within 9.x what we call architecture, we can upgrade from 901 to 91 or 91 to 95 or 951, which means what? Within same architecture. Remember, upgrade will happen within the same architecture, that we need to remember. But in pre9.x also same, but from 8 to 9 there should be a migration, because we are going to use one utility which I am going to talk about that. That's the first thing we need to think. And what do we need to consider? What are the prerequisites before we start migration? So what do we need to consider? And then what is the process that we need to adapt to migrate from pre to current? And then post migration, which means after migration, what do we need to do? And what do we need to take care as part of upgrade? And what do we need to do after upgrade? These are all what we call these 2 points for migration, these 2 points for upgrade. And then prerequisites, actual part. That's it. So these are the what I call bullet points. Once we know that, now we can talk about the complete path. So this is what is the path, which was first bullet point, right? That's what we are going to discuss now. Path means what? Right from whenever this data quality started, right? So right from what we call 3.0 version of data quality to latest version, which is 9.5.1, where like what is the path that we need to undergo while performing migration. So 3.02, 3.1 simple upgrade, 3.1 to 8.6.2. Till this pre-9.x versions, right? It is a simple upgrade to make it very simple. So upgrade 3.1 to 8.6.2 or 3.1 to 8.6.2 same. Then 8.5 to 8.6.2 or directly to 8.6.2. So anything can happen. Yeah? From one version to other version within what is called 8.x architecture. Because the reason here is upgrade. If you look at this architecture, right? This is mainly this is architecture difference. Remember, migration is basically based on architecture difference. Because our architecture got changed from this 8.x to 9.x, that is why we need to perform migration. But within same, let us say 8.x or pre-8.x architecture, then we just to upgrade, no migration. Yeah, now let's get into this. So till this part, which is 8.6.2, all of them, for all the prior versions, we can simply perform what? Upgrade. Just remember that. Yeah? Now if we change or if we want to get into latest or 9.x architecture, then what we need to do is we need to use migration utility, which we call CRS. Yeah? That is a migration utility that we need to use. Now using that, we can convert or we can migrate from 8.6.2 to 9.9.0.1. While doing that, we need to export plans and dictionaries. Now we know what is a plan, what is a dictionary, right? This is in file system, this is embedded. All the connection details or request information will be embedded for each plan, which we discussed. And then export and put it in what I call one XML file. And then start performing migration using what? This particular utility, which is migration utility. Once we do that, then start getting each mapping validated and mappers also. After that, within 9. Now once you migrate 9.0, we are in what we call 9.x architecture, right? From here on, other versions like we have 9.1, 9.5, yeah, and above 9.x, whatever, all of them, from to all the versions, we can simply perform what I call simple upgrade. Remember. Yeah, yes, Javier, go ahead.
Seema, like if someone has a IDQ 3.1 or 8.5, so it will be a twofold process. First convert it to 8.6.2 and then to 9.1.
Yeah, to 9.0, from 9.0 to latest upgrade. So this is a 3-step process.
Okay, if someone has 8.6, then it's fine. Just only one step process from 8.6 to 9.1.
Yes, 8.6 to 901 and 901 to latest version upgrade. So two steps.
Okay, before that was 3 steps.
Yeah, for example, let's say they have 8.6.2 example. So 8.6.2 901, which is 1.
Yeah.
And from 901 to latest version, which is what any version, it could be 9.1 or 9.5. There's a one more upgrade. Javier, 2-step process.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. From pre 8.6, right? Then we need to have 3.1 example. 3.1 to 8.6 1, 8.6 to 9.1.1 2, and 9.1.1 to any other latest version 3. Fine. These are the what we call basic steps that we need to follow in order to perform migration. Now, the next is what we need to think of. Yes, we have steps. These are the steps that we need to follow, Sridhar, in order to perform migration. But specific steps are, yes, we have that, Sridhar. I'll drop an email on that, the document. Yeah. Yeah. Now, the next is what we need to identify. Second bullet point, right? Considerations, which we discussed over here. So this part is done. Now, what do we need to consider before we perform migration or upgrade. First, server, because of what? Pre-9.x architecture, you have what you call local and shared, or server and shared repository. So we need to have this what you call local clients and also server, and then bash scripts through which we can what you call migrate. And then if you want to integrate data quality to Power Center, we need to make sure that we are going to validate complete repository, which means all the objects that we have in data quality repository, and then start taking care of, like, do we need any changes that are required, or do we have any what you call deprecated components, or the ones which cannot be what you call migrated. Then start performing what you call migration. So which is what will be done as part of this migration. Now the next is what we need to start reviewing what is some plans and dictionaries. So we need to review like what to be migrated, because there are some components which are deprecated. I'll come to the specific what are those which are deprecated, and then we also need to select what we call identify the ones which are not required, which means what unneeded ones. So those points we need to consider. So yes, Naresh.
In the previous slide, you're talking about the Power Center migration as well, right? So anything that has been integrated with Power Center, you'll have to basically migrate along with the IDQ migration, or would that be taken care of Power Center?
There are two parts here broadly, IDQ to IDQ migration and IDQ to Power Center, because we can make this output of data quality which will become as input to Power Center. So that part I think we have discussed when we look at this particular life cycle, right, Naresh? So these are the two parts which are part of data quality. So we can make output of data quality which will become as input to Power Center, right? To do that, what we need to do is, first within this data quality we need to take care, which is a data quality migration. Then again, second is what? Data quality to Power Center, which is Informatica ETL migration. So I'll come to that. There are diagrams which will explain clearly. Just to answer the question, this is the answer to the question. Can you see here? Up to this, what we call till this, it is data quality. Left part of this. Right side is what we call Power Center.
Okay. So okay, so you mean to say after the migration and the upgradation is complete, then you'd be integrating with Power Center?
Yeah. Again, here also migration plus upgrade, both we have. I'll come to that. So I just added one bullet point here within data quality and with Power Center, but I'll elaborate that with those diagrams in detail. Naresh? Fine?
Okay.
Now the next is what we were trying to discuss what do we need to consider, right? So identify in case if you have any duplicates, and review steps like what we have talked about this, and then make sure that remove the ones which are not required, that we discussed. Now apart from that, remember this is a very important point. While migration, right, from especially 8.x to 9.x, we should not do bulk migration, which means what? We should not take all the plans within one particular project and get them migrated to 9.0.1. We should not do that, because if something goes wrong, it is very difficult to what you call identify what went wrong, where it went wrong, and why it went wrong. So which means to identify this, it will take a lot of time. To avoid that, it is always advisable to go with what I call incremental migration. So that's what we need to think, which means take, depending upon the complexity of the mappings, right, take very less number of plans, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, depending upon the complexity, and then start getting them migrated one by one, because totally architecture will change, right? if it is the same architecture, right, then it is fine. But if it is a different architecture, right, it is better to go with what you call incremental approach. Even within architecture, same architecture, also better to go with incremental, but that is at least better than what you call what we could do with what we can compare with what you call pre-9.x with 9.x versions. So if let us say if we have very complex plans,
Callers
it
on
is
the call.
difficult to take care of that. Now, so I think we discussed about CRS filters while performing migration from what we call 8.x to 9.x. Yeah? That's what we need to do. Oh, cool, Lalit. Oh, so far you are not able to hear, huh? Oh, God. Good. Oh, God. Morning, I think got into problem. Okay, fine, Lalit. I'll send you this recorded session.
Okay, thanks.
Fine. Then let us get into what we call the diagrammatic representation form, so that we can understand better here. Yeah? Now, step by step we'll understand. In IDQ pre-9.x, we have what local and server or shared repository, two types of repositories, right? Now, what do we need to do as part of migration? So we need to take what is called client and then get it exported onto the server, which is what is called XML. Yeah? Now, from this 9.101 model, which is our data quality, yeah, where what we need to do, take the XML, import it onto the model repository. Yeah? That's what need to be done. Simple migration. But in between, you get what I call CRS utility, which is what I call migration utility, which you can see as part of this. Yeah? Now, the next is what once you get into this particular model repository, now the next thing is going to be what? If you want to perform upgrade to latest version of data quality, which is that's 9.5.x, then we can simply perform upgrade. That's it. So simple terms, from IDQ pre-9.x to 9.x is going to be the migration, and from 9.x to latest 9.x, which is 9.5, it's a simple upgrade, MRS to MRS migration. Yeah, this is different, local rep and shared rep or server rep to MRS migration. If you think from repository perspective, ultimately migration means what? We just migrate one metadata, right? Where do we have metadata? In repositories. What are those repository names? In P9.x, local and server, and 9.x we have model repository. MRS means model repository service, but MR is the right name. Now, what if you want to what I call perform this migration with what I call Power Center? What we discussed here was within what I call data quality. That's what you can see here. Standalone data quality migration upgrade, which means what? From here to here migration, from here to here upgrade. So we have both which are covered here. Yeah? Now let's go with what I call data quality the Power Center. This diagram is going to explain that. So this part we discussed from here to here, and then here to here, till this part we have discussed. Now if you want to make this particular data quality output to be available in the Power Center, what we need to do here is we need to perform what we call migration, or it could be upgrade. Basically it should be, it is a migration. If it is an Informatica is older version. Remember, those data quality is 9.5 example or 9.1. We can also perform migration of this to Power Center 8.6 also, and 9.1 also, or 9.0.1 also, or 9.5 also. All of them can be done. Within 9.x means what? Upgrade. Then pre means what? Migration. So that's what we do as part of what I call single domain migration. Remember, there is a one domain which we call either 9.1 or 9.5 domain, and here also we have 9.1 or 9.5 domain. We can migrate. Yeah? So, but 8.6.2, what we call 9.x, this CRS utility, and 9.x simple update. That's it. Yeah? Plus, we also have what we call content, which this part I didn't explain. Remember, data quality means content, which is going to be the very, very important thing. I repeat, data quality means what? Content. Content is what is specific to each what? Country. Because the way we represent data in one country would be different from other countries, right? So that is why content is going to be the very important topic or a very important thing in data quality. So while performing export, we also need to think of how are we going to take care of this reference data or dictionary data to reference data or reference data to reference data. Remember, which means what? Content is what we call reference data. Just remember. Yeah? So that part, how are we going to take it? So apart from repository or metadata migration, fine. There are some deprecated components which we are going to see. How are we going to take care of replacing deprecated components with newer transformations? That part we are going to see. But now we focused with what? Data quality at the power center in a single domain. This is what we discussed so far in this particular slide. I repeat, data quality to power center migration upgrade within a single domain, which we call either 9.1 or 9.5 domain. That's all. Now we will talk about separate domain for power center and separate domain for what we call data quality. So how are we going to take care of this cross-domain migration? Here we have local repository, server repository, then perform migration from this 8.x to what we call 9.x. Once we do that, upgrade to what we call some latest version of data quality, which is in single domain. Now, the next is what we need to talk about to the power center, which is what 9.1 or 9.5 domain, which is what I call different from this here. Here, if you go and look at here, which is what complete thing is the same domain, which means what MRS and this both are in the same domain, which is what 9.1 or 9.5. 9.1 means 9.1 MRS, 9.1 power center, 9.5 MRS, 9.5 power center. Now here it could be 9.1 MRS, 9.5 power center, and vice versa, which means 9.5 data quality, 9.1 power center. Remember, so which means what? Cross-domain migration is formed. So this part also will be taken care while migrating from what? Data quality to power center, this one. So data quality part we discussed. Now we are focusing on data quality with the power center, primarily single domain or and cross domain or separate domain. Fine. Now some more points while performing or consideration or what we need to consider while performing migration. So now what we need to do here is we need to take care of clearly define all the steps, like what do we need to consider while performing migration. Is it a single version or multi-version migration? These are very basic points. I think this part probably can invest in read. We need to have time for these are all generic points. This you can invest in go through it. It's very straightforward. And prerequisites, make sure that the environment is set for to and from version, and then ensure that proper JDK version and also all the versions with respect to Informatica side and also data quality side and also Java side and also application server side. All of them are not mentioned, plus credentials with respect to connection of the paths for files, and create a project plan and start getting it what I call migrated. These are all what I call considerations. Now third step is going to be what? Migration using tools. How did you do that? Export from IDQ repository, which is 8.6.2, get all the connection details, gather all local repositories, package them. So you will have, let's say, just archive, that's it, put it in one archive file. Once you do that, go to 9.x, extract it, create connections, because these are all individual connections, right? Per plan, you will have separate connection. Yeah? And then we have a dictionary path. Remember here we use dictionary, right? Because we store reference data in the form of dictionary in a file in 9.x. But here we have reference table manager. Right? So what we need to do is we need to import this dictionary into the reference table manager and start performing what is called, or start making use of that reference data for performing standardization, parsing, labeling, and so on. Yeah. And then convert plans to XML. As we discussed with respect to terminology, right? Plan we have it to 9.x, and from 9.x it is going to be mapping. Yeah. So those things we need to take care, because every plan you might have some embedded connection details, right? Those things need to be changed to centralized connection details. That's an example. Similarly, other properties. Yeah. This is about what we call 9.x server side, like what do we need to consider. On the client side, what do we need to do? Just simply, let's say Informatica developer client, simply import the repository, which is from this particular server, which is this particular server, and then put it in what we call 901 repository. So this is what need to be done as part of migration process. That's it. Once you do that, this is just a screenshot, like how it would look like with respect to folder structure, all that. So that's about what I call with respect to migration steps. Once you do that, these are what I call basic steps, which we already discussed, which is with more details here. So this is what we need to take care while migration. There are screenshots how it looks like, all that. And then while doing that, this is a tool, Informatica developer tool, import and validate and then perform what we call post migration stuff. Yeah, like if everything is fine or not, and then within data quality check, after that power center check. That's it. These two things we need to take care. These are what I call mandatory steps that we need to follow while performing migration. So upgrade task, make sure that with respect to any changes are required, code change, or with respect to address, with respect to any transformation, any logic, right? Those things we need to make sure. That's it. So that anyway, this is a document which contains complete steps. Sridhar, this answered your question, but I'll just drop an email on that. So that's it about what we call migration part. So once we understand that, now we can get into what we call data quality part, where we have specific what we call terms that we need to think of in legacy data explorer, which is 9.x explorer, and current what we call explorer. Yeah? So within Informatica, as such we don't have separate client from 9.x like Informatica Data Explorer. We have only one client which we call Informatica Developer. So within that, Explorer is one part. Okay? That is the first. And second thing is what? In Legacy Data Explorer, we have what I call data source connections. Yeah? And then we have what I call same connection details here, and tables in 9.x. Now we have data objects, and rules in pre9.x, expression rules, action item, comment. There are terminology changes, nothing else. Yeah? And nodes, and here we have comments. So action item, nodes, we have only one term that we use here, comment, just different documentation or description, whatever. And schemas, folders we have, and the projects only. Yeah. There is a question from Naresh. Data Explorer is still available as a standalone tool in 9.x. No, we don't have that, Naresh. We don't have separate client like Data Explorer from 9.x. We have Informatica developer only. Within that, Explorer is one part. That is standalone part. But we have one more client, which I said in architecture, right? What was that? There is a client called what? Informatica Analyst, which I said, right? Which is a web-based client. It's not a standalone client, Naresh. So which will be used to carry out analysis. Not only that, we have some more features like a fixing bad records, fixing duplicate records, building the reference data, performing the tagging and documentation, and performing the scorecarding and monitoring, all that. I'll talk about them once you start practical sessions with the analyst. One by one we'll take and start performing practical parts. So that was the thing. So, as I said,
not actively marketing it, but in my old project, I've used Data Explorer in version 9 because they're not actually, they're trying to duplicate it and trying to make it part of Data Explorer, but they're still, if you have old license of Explorer and if you still want to continue using just that tool, they're still doing that.
9.x, sir?
Yes, I've used 9.1 of Data Explorer.
Really?
Separately.
No. Anyway, we are going to install 9.1, right? You yourself will see that. I think they would have bought a license only for Explorer within an Informatica development. Maybe that part they would be doing it. But
Probably.
as such, we don't have a separate client like Informatica Data Explorer from 9.x. We have it within Informatica developer only. All the features we have, like whatever can be done here, it can be done in Informatica developer. But within that, Explorer is one part, and also quality is one part. There are two parts within Informatica developer. One of them is Explorer. Naresh? Probably they would have changed the names just to make the client as Informatica Data Explorer. As such, we don't have like separate client like Informatica Data Explorer, Naresh.
Okay.
But anyway, after installing it, you will get to know. I'll show that. Yeah. Fine. I think you would have used maybe 9.0, which is a base version. So not 9.1. But anyway, we'll see that with it.
Probably 9.
What, Naresh? Yeah.
It could be 901.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That could be the difference. Yeah? But anyway, once you install it, you'll get to know that. Yeah. Now, if you look at here, Informatica Data Explorer, which is 8.6, 9.1, Data Explorer 9.1, supported versions. Yeah? Now we'll talk about what are all the different things that we do in what I call Explorer. Create all the connections, create sources, and perform profiling, all that. These are all very minor. Many things are not listed here. We'll talk about them with a tool rather than with a theory part. Yeah? Now, these are the very good points that we all need to remember. So, if you look at here, over here, Informatica Data Quality Analyst, you see here, where we can perform what we call like scorecarding, rule-based profiling, column profiling, reference table manager, which is to define the reference data. Yeah? So now, things which cannot be done in analyst, we have what? Midstream profiling, comparative profiling, mapping specification, and join analysis, and also some more things are not listed, primary key analysis, foreign key analysis. So those things, what I call will be specific to what? Informatica Data Explorer, which is part of developer. Now we can see these are the ones. Can you see here? 9.1, these are all what I call profiling part. All the profiling things should be part of Explorer. That's what you can say. 9.1 Informatica Data Explorer. So can you see here? Features supported by only this analyst and developer client. There are only two clients. Naresh, analyst only, developer only. Within that, we have Explorer is one part, which is IDQ 9.1, whatever you call it. This is from notation perspective, but in real tool, we have what we call only this only, analyst tool and developer tool, only two clients. Yeah. Now, the next is what, so we'll talk about each, like whatever bullet points that we have, right, with practical examples. So once this installation part gets over, right, then we can start getting into practical parts, yeah? Practical things. So from tomorrow, we'll get into data quality, data explorer and data quality. These are the what I call high level bullet points. Yeah? This anyway, I'll talk about that. Not only just theory part, I'll also talk about practical things within by using this 9.1 and also 9.5.1. We have both the versions, 9.1 with a hotfix 2 and 9.5.1, which is the latest version. So we are going to take both the versions in order to understand all the features that are being supported by data quality. Yeah? Fine. Any questions?